Fordham women's basketball is back in the hallowed halls of the Rose Hill Gym for a dogfight with the Dayton Flyers. The 8-7 Flyers got their first conference win against Duquesne before dropping their most recent game at home against Loyola Chicago. Led by senior guard Nio Lear, the Flyers land in the Bronx trying to overcome a 2-4 record on the road thus far. The Rams, also at 8-7, enter the afternoon after a tough road loss Wednesday at Richmond. Alexis Black is recovering from injury, but Fordham still has a great opportunity to notch that first A-10 win of the season in front of the Ram faithful. It's Saturday afternoon women's college hoops in the historic Rose Hill Gym. It's the Fordham Rams versus the Dayton Flyers. It's Fordham women's basketball, and it's coming up next on WFUV Sports. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you inside of the historic Rose Hill Gym on the campus of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. Tucker Austin and Nathan Rogers with you as we're proud to bring you Saturday matinee women's college hoops. It's the Fordham Rams getting ready to take on the Dayton Flyers. Nathan, the spring semester is just around the corner. Class is starting on Monday, but we've got one more basketball game to go on Rose Hill before we get back in the classroom. How excited are you for this one?
Look, I'm always pumped to be at Rose Hill for calling a women's game, but I'm not so excited to go to class Monday morning, tell you that much.
Tell you what, neither am I, but I am definitely excited to get into this one. Before we do, though, we had a chance to catch up with Fordham Rams women's basketball head coach Bridgette Mitchell. Take a listen to what she had to say pregame right now. Tucker Austin and Nathan Rogers here with Fordham women's basketball head coach Bridgette Mitchell ahead of the Fordham Rams game versus the Dayton Flyers. Coach, 6 of your team's 8 wins this season have been here at home. What makes your team feel and play so comfortably at the Rose Hill Gym?
I think that the level of comfort, right? Like you practice in it every day to be able to knock down those same shots. And I think that they're like really confident playing at home in their comfort zone.
Yeah. And seeking your first win in A-10 conference play today against Dayton, coming off a really good first quarter against Richmond and a tough loss, is there anything different you guys have been doing in practice in the last couple of weeks, with kind of like transitioning into this game?
Yeah, it varies. Opponent, this is a game that we're going to play a lot of our Amiga zone against. Because they want to get downhill and get into the paint, whereas Richmond is a 3-point shooting team. So each opponent we prepare differently for, keeping our main principles and our identity to who we are from the defensive and offensive end. With this team specifically, they struggle because they switch off ball a lot. So we're going to set a lot of off ball screens and get a lot of movement from that perspective to try to look for each other cutting and scoring.
Yeah, to get a bit more particular with them, Dayton tends to be a bit more careless with the basketball. They committed 30 turnovers in their last game against Loyola Chicago. So how does that play into how Fordham approaches defense and transitions today?
Yeah, we're battling some injuries and stuff, so they have a lot more bodies than we do. So we're still going to press, but we're going to try to keep it in the half court in terms of being aggressive off their ball screens and a lot of the brush action that they like to do. But we'll play our aggressive defense. That's who we are, but we'll just find moments of doing that.
Rebounding's been a strong set for you guys this season, and Dayton's a big imposing team in the paint. How is playing the glass today going to make a big difference?
Better box out.
All right, Coach, thanks so much. Good luck today. The Fordham Rams and the Dayton Flyers coming up next on WFUV Sports. And we welcome you back inside of the Rose Hill Gym. That was the end of Lift Every Voice and Sing, and then the entirety of our national anthem. A nice rendition as always. So we're just about set and ready to go, but before tip-off, Nathan, you got some keys to the game today.
Yeah, we got some Rogers keys to the games for Fordham today. Number one, we're going to control the glass. If you're Fordham, your size is the biggest advantage today. You're second in the A10 in rebounds. Limiting second chance points is absolutely critical against a Dayton team that is imposing their long two. We talked to Coach B before the game, and she also said the second key to the game, too, is just limiting the turnovers and just fouling the ball. Dayton looks to capitalize on turnovers. You know, the Flyers had a rough game last outing against Loyola Chicago, committing 30 turnovers. So if you're Fordham, you're at your best when they share the rock, and taking care of the ball is huge. And the third key to the game is just containing Lear and protecting the paint. Dayton thrives, and Nao Lear is just, when she gets downhill and the Flyers establish the inside, it's so hard to stop her from scoring. So keep her out of rhythm and force contested perimeter shots will be key for the Fordham Rams today.
Absolutely, Nathan, and we've got some starting lineups to get through now as the player intros are underway here in the arena. For the visiting Dayton Flyers, it's going to be senior guard Nao Lear, who's really stepped into her role as a starter this season. She only started 10 of the games that she appeared in last season for this Dayton team, but she's a four-year player with the Flyers program and seemed like the heir apparent to take over as the lead scorer of this team. She's joined by senior guard Shantavia Dawkins, standing at 5'8". Also out there is going to be the guard forward, standing at 6'3", the junior Ajak Madal. Nicole Stevens, a grad student guard at 5'7". Then a 6-foot guard, a senior, or rather 6'2" forward center Molly O'Riordan is going to be out there, a sophomore. She had a pretty solid season as a freshman last year for the Flyers. That's the 5 for Dayton. The 5 for the Fordham Rams to start this one is going to be Emma Wilson-Saltos at forward, Karen Easley and Lucretia Edwards, the two guards, Ornella Niankin and Anastasia Veljovic rounding out the forward group. So no huge size for the Fordham Rams to start this game, but a lot of aggressiveness, that aggressiveness that Coach B talked about pregame in terms of the rebounding game, going to come into play with players like Emma Wilson-Saltos and Anastasia Veljovic.
Yeah, for sure. And with Alexis Blackout, they really got to spread the floor and pass the rock. They're at their best when they really thrive off that perimeter, passing the rock around. And I think Karen Easley has stepped up to that as a freshman. And she's quick and she changes pace. And once the Fordham Rams play at their tempo, we talked to Coach B before the game, and she talked about half-court, playing their half-court sets the way they want to at their tempo. That's going to be absolutely massive for the Fordham Rams today, seeking their first A10 conference play win.
Yeah, the Rams enter conference play this afternoon, 0-4 in the A10. Meanwhile, the Dayton Flyers, a 1-3 start in conference, their lone win coming against the Duquesne Dukes. Last game out for the Rams, a tough loss at Richmond after a really solid opening quarter. They left the first quarter with a lead, but did wind up falling behind in that game to the back-to-back A10 regular season champion Richmond Spiders. Dayton, though, coming off of a loss at home against Loyola Chicago, who have been scoring the fewest points per game in the conference so far this year. They rank at the very bottom of the conference. So the Flyers looking for a bounce back. The Rams looking to get into the win column for the first time in conference play this season. We're set up for a fun one this afternoon, Nathan. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else here in the Rose Hill Gym in the Bronx, New York. Fordham in their home whites with maroon accents, maroon letters and numbers. The Dayton Flyers in scarlet road uniforms with white letters, reads Dayton across the chest, and a navy number with white outlines. It's a good-looking uniform matchup as we're just about ready for tip-off here.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an exciting one here at Rose Hill. They always play so well at home. So I'm definitely excited for this one, Tucker.
Yeah, Fordham enjoys the friendly confines of this home court, the oldest active Division I basketball gym in the nation. The tip is battled for. It's won by the Fordham Rams. Lucretia Edwards comes down with it, and Ornella Niankin with the first bucket of the game. She tosses up a floater from right in the middle of the paint. It's 2-0 Rams as we are underway.
Quick score, and Ornella Niankin has been the X factor for this Fordham Rams team.
been very solid, getting better and better, and now moving more into a starting role. On the other end, it's Dayton's first possession. Driving into the lane is Ajak Madal. Her shot's no good, rebounded by Karen Easley, who fires it forward for Emma Wilson-Saltos, but it's a little too far, and it bounces out of bounds. It's a turnover by the Fordham Rams, something that Coach B said that she wants to limit in this game, especially because Dayton's turnover margin, and you look at their last game with all the turnovers, it's definitely something you can take advantage of.
Definitely want to keep it under 17, she said, for this game, and that's the goal they're looking for so far in a fast tempo start for the first quarter.
Top of the key, it's Nio Lear. She's going to pull up from the A10 logo just inside the free throw line. She connects for 2, and we're all tied up here. A minute gone in the first quarter, 9 to play. And a pass down court was stolen by Lear, tipped away, and now there's a battle for it. Nicole Stevens and Anastasia Veljovic both on the floor. Believe it's going to be a jump ball, though. Possession arrow pointing in the direction of the Flyers. The referee's talking things over, and they are going to give the basketball to Dayton.
2 quick turnovers for the freshman Karen Easley from Philly, and just not what you want if you're Coach B starting out this game. But look, it's early, and get those jitters out early and get the Fordham Rams rolling.
Inbound to Stevens. Nicole Stevens, a grad student guard out of Pickerington, Ohio, and a Columbia transfer. Pass inside for Madal is stolen away. Lucretia Edwards picks it up, fires it down court for Niankin. She dribbles to the left block. Now gets it back to Wilson-Saltos on the right wing. She moves down on Reardon to the right block. Right-handed layup is no good. Rebounded by Shantavia Dawkins.
Fordham Rams doing such a good job rotating to that lower block with their bigs today so early. Just great to see.
Dawkins trying to make a move on Veljovic. Pass outside to Nio Lear. That 3 is no good from the right wing. Rebounded by Easley. Easley pressured by Dawkins. Veljovic, right wing 3 is too long over the rim. And it's going to go out of bounds. Last touched by Veljovic. Couple of subs coming on for the Rams. Mason Hill comes in. Precious Omashola also checks in. Veljovic and Wilson-Saltos take a seat.
Good shot selection there. Just didn't fall and nodded at 2 with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, the Rams started their game against Richmond shooting a bit better from 3 than they usually do. But first shot of the game from beyond the arc for the Rams was really not too close to coming in, but either way, Dayton with the basketball now, tied at 2, 7:45 to go in this first quarter. It's been a handful of empty possessions to start between these two squads. Left corner 3, that's no good from Dawkins, too long. An air ball, and now Easley with it after the rebound by Niankin. Easley turns on the Jets, up with the right hand, and Karen Easley cuts through the lane, makes the right-handed layup from the right block, and it's 4-2 Fordham.
I mean, she looks like a running back, running downhill, just finding the open spot, getting to that low block. Great touch.
A drive into the lane by Nio Lear. She's fouled. Believe it's against Karen Easley. Lear going to go to the free throw line for the first 2 free throws of the afternoon for either team. Actually think Lucretia Edwards may have been the one to pick that up. Saw the referee throw up a 4 towards the scorer's table. Ty Bills, Ryan Nunez, and Alexis Perez, the referee crew this afternoon.
It's been a quick one early this afternoon at Rose Hill, right? Right, Tucker?
Yeah, moving pretty quickly to start. But now the first true break, minor stoppage, some free throws for Nio Lear. She missed the first. Second free throw incoming for Lear. She misses both at the free throw line, rebounded by Omashola. Lear, a 63% shooter from the stripe on the year, but couldn't get either of those to fall. Mason Hill goes across the lane from left to right, can't get the layup to go, but it's rebounded by Omashola. She's trapped in the left corner by Stevens, and O'Riordan can't get the ball free, and it's picked up by Nicole Stevens. Stevens into the right corner for Lear. Lear trying to work on Edwards, spins to her left and puts it up from the right block. Nio Lear, a nice little jumper there, and we're tied once again. 4-all, 6:40 to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, Tucker, Nio Lear is just so shifty. She's just a primary playmaker for this Dayton Flyers team, and she's their leading scorer, and she's so aggressive for a reason.
Easley setting up the offense for the Rams. Gets a screen from Mason Hill. She's guarded by Shantavia Dawkins. A bit of a size disadvantage. kick out for Anela Niyankin in the right corner. That three is no good. Off the rim and then the backboard. Rebounded by Jacques Madal. Madal finds Dawkins, and now it's back to Madal, who drives from the left wing, puts up an underhanded layup, but it's no good, and a rebound by Karen Easley again.
And the interior defense has been really doing a great job early in this first quarter.
Mason Hill tosses it down low for Niyankin, who's blocked by O'Riordan on the layup attempt. Big reaction from the Dayton bench that time. The 6'2" forward/center from Barrington, Illinois. Molly O'Riordan, a second-year player, who got the start in today's game as a sophomore. She is an imposing presence in the middle of the paint. Got a big rejection that time.
And the thing about Molly O'Riordan, too, is she's 6'2", but she's mobile as well. She moves from block to block. She's always got her eye on the ball, and what a great defender she is.
Tia Morgan into the game for the Rams for the first time today. She finds Mason Hill in the left corner for a big three. The Rams first made 3 of the game, and it's 7-4 Fordham.
Mason Hill was huge in that last game against Richmond with her ability to score outside the perimeter beyond the arc, and she shows it right there.
Yeah, and Hill's been taking more of those shots more recently. We heard Coach B say earlier on, she's been taking more shots. A ball up to the left wing for Ajak Madal, and Madal picks up an offensive foul as there was a shove on Anastasia Veljovic. Veljovic taking the contact to draw the turnover. Fordham's ball up by 3 here, 5.5 to go in the first.
Yeah, and Tucker, in hindsight, ball don't lie, because looked like a foot kind of slipped out of bounds, so it should have been Fordham Rams ball before the foul was drawn. But nevertheless, Fordham Rams ball. 5:30 left to go.
Just to finish the point on Mason Hill, ever since Alexis Black, of course, is out with an injury, she's wearing a boot on her right foot. And there's a steal by Nio Lear. Ball gets away from Tia Morgan. Lear goes clear to the basket. Absolutely no contest. It's 7-6. But Mason Hill's been shooting the ball more often because Alexis Black is out. And Coach B didn't have to tell her to do that. She just kind of built the confidence on her own. And it's been better for her, better for the Rams. Much improved three-point shooting between the Richmond game and now here today. Wilson Saltos gets the ball inside, tosses it up with the right hand, but it's no good. And it's rebounded by Jacques Madal. She gets it over to Lear. Nio Lear tosses it down low for Fatima Ibrahim, who puts it up and in. Count it, and the foul. Ibrahim getting her first minutes of the game. The 6'3" center from Winnipeg is going to the line for what could be a three-point play.
She's another transfer, too, for this Dayton Flyers team. They're full of transfers. Huge playmakers, too, and she's from North Dakota. And her presence inside changes how opponents attack the rim, and you saw it there. You have to crash the glass and get your hands up. She's got a little too physical. They're always going to call that whistle down low. Not a horrible foul, just better offense there.
Ibrahim, a 62% free throw shooter. She'll be shooting 1 on the other side of the first media timeout this afternoon. The Dayton Flyers lead the Fordham Rams 8-7 with 4:46 to go in this first quarter. But don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back with more Fordham women's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, my name is Ryan Rucco, WFUV class of 2008. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One-on-One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
And we welcome you back into the Rose Hill Gym here on the Rose Hill campus of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. Tucker Austin, Nathan Rogers with you on this Saturday afternoon. Of course, it's the crazy wild card weekend for NFL football. There was NCAA football as well. The national semifinals were the last 2 nights in a row. But, Nathan, we've got a pretty tight women's college basketball game on our hands this afternoon in the Bronx. The Fordham Rams and Dayton Flyers
going at it. The Flyers up 8-7. These two squads split this season series last season, both winning at home respectively. I called the Dayton game at Dayton last year where the Flyers got the better of the Fordham Rams, but this is a much different Rams team. Coach B has told us that multiple times throughout the course of this
100%.
season, that this Fordham Rams team is just so different from the one that existed last year because of all the players who graduated and who transferred out. But when you look at this Dayton team on the flip side, Dayton, of their entire team, they have 1 freshman on their roster this year and 3 transfers who were new this year. The entire rest of their roster is returning players from last season. And I think that just speaks to the kind of cohesion that you build with a head coach in her 4th season like Tamika Williams-Jeter.
Exactly, and when we talk to Coach B too, every time we call one of these games, her philosophy is just get 2% better every day. There's no shortcuts, and especially with a new roster, like you said, with only 2 or 3 returners for the Fordham Rams, you got to find that cohesion. And with A-10 conference play knocking at the door, and we're here now, and you want to get that first win so you get the momentum going into the tournament. Got to get 2% better every day and stay true to your identity, and that's the same thing that head coach Tamika Williams has done for Dayton Flyers as well.
The free throw after the break from Ibrahim is no good, maybe iced with the timeout. O'Riordan tries a save, and she does it successfully. The ball's with Ibrahim. O'Riordan fell out of bounds, hit the floor hard, but still managed to get the basketball. 10 seconds on the shot clock here. In the left corner, it's Olivia Leung getting her first minutes of the afternoon. She gets it to Ibrahim. Ibrahim is double-teamed at the left block, puts it up, but it's no good. They call a foul. It was a really solid defensive possession by the Fordham Rams, right to the buzzer. But Fatima Ibrahim, after missing a free throw on a chance at a 3-point play, is going to get a full trip here. 2 free throws coming up for the 6'3" junior center.
Here's the thing, too. After that free throw, you got to get the board that comes down to that lower block. I know it's hard to box out the bigs that Dayton Flyers have. It's just, that's what happens. The ball scrambles, and you get an open shot. Didn't look like a foul to me with the going up vertical, but got to get the rebounds and box out.
Ibrahim makes the second of 2, so that makes it a 2-point game. It's now 9-7 Dayton with 4:20 to go in the first quarter. Long pass down the floor for Mason Hill, who has to get it back up top for Veljevic. And now Tia Morgan will reset the offense, standing on the script R in the Fordham logo at center court. Fordham moving right to left, Dayton left to right. A pass to a cutting Anastasia Veljevic, but she tries to get it back to the middle of the paint. It's stolen by Ibrahim. Nobody for Fordham in the area. Nicole Stevens steps into a 3 from the right wing, but that's no good. Rebounded by Ibrahim, who gets back into the paint, puts it up with the right hand. Nice footwork underneath by Fatima Ibrahim, the 9th leading rebounder in all of the A-10. Gets the board and gets the finish, 11-7 Dayton. Cutting in the other way goes Kayla Berry, getting her first looks of the afternoon. And Berry is fouled. She'll go to the free throw line. First charity stripe shots of the day for the Fordham Rams.
Yeah, Tucker, and after that media timeout, it just looks like Fordham's coming out a little flat-footed. We talked to Coach B before the game, and she mentioned they want to play more spread out. They want backdoor cuts. They want to cut more and get the backdoor cuts. And they tried there, but no one was in the paint to receive that pass after the cut. Got to keep rotating on offense to that open space, especially in the paint with the shot clock winding down, but especially just make the extra pass if you're the Fordham Rams.
Berry made the first. She misses the second off the left side of the iron. There's a fight for the rebound, but it's corralled by MG Talley, a freshman forward out of Quebec. Jada Johnson has it now. Looks to be something of a second unit now for the Dayton Flyers. Top of the key for Malia Johnson. Johnson has it stolen away by Wilson Saltos in the middle. Kayla Berry has it in transition. She tries to go all the way to the rack. She's fouled again, though. Malia Johnson is going to get the credit for the foul this time, and Kayla Berry will go back to the free throw line. That's back-to-back possessions where Kayla Berry has driven right to the rack and taken plenty of contact to go and get her points at the line.
But it all begins with Emma Wilson-Santos. She's such a hustle player for this Fordham Rams team, especially in the paint. She's always boxing out. She's always kind of like a cornerback when the ball goes in the air. She's got her eyes up and just palmed the ball. I mean, what a great athletic play that was. And look, she might be in that second unit today. She gets a starting nod. But she's a great player.
Kayla Berry misses the second of 2. She made the first, though, so she's now 2 of 4. And it's a 2-point game once again, 11-9. I think there was a bit of a scuffle under the basket. They're waiting for an inbound. Believe it's Flyers basketball here, although it looks like it is a turnover. So Dayton winds up with the ball out of bounds. It's going to be Fordham's ball here after the missed second free throw with a chance to maybe tie this game with a 2. 3:08 to go in the first quarter. And the Rams in search of their first win in conference play, trying to get it done at home where they've got a majority of their wins this season. Niankin, left elbow, picks up the dribble, has to kick it out for Tia Morgan. Morgan, double teamed, gets it to the left wing for Veljovic. She spins to the right block, and there's a foul. It's going to be on the floor. Veljovic celebrating as if the basket will count, but the umpire, Alexis Perez, waved it off immediately. Great
move by Veljovic. But hey, Dayton's doing such a good job on the perimeter, double teaming. It's almost like a box-and-one zone they have going on in this set, this half-court set. It's working so well because it's trapping the Fordham perimeter players. But again, make that extra pass and you get an opportunity here for the inbound.
Fordham, another inbound under the basket, 20-second shot clock, just under 3 minutes to play in the first quarter. Easley, top of the key. She was guarded by MG Talley, but another foul is called here. Talley picks it up on the push, and it pushes Fordham into the bonus here in the first quarter. The referee, Ty Bills, calling for 2 shots. Karen Easley at the free throw line, and Dayton a little carelessly there, kind of pushed themselves straight into the bonus with a lot of time left in this first quarter. Easley's first free throw is good, so taking advantage of the unfortunate situation for Dayton, but really it was on like the last 2, maybe 3 possessions where Dayton picked up all of those fouls, and Easley's good 2 for 2 on that trip, and we're tied again. It's 11-all, 2:45 to go in the first. Nio Lear guarded by Easley. Now Wilson-Saltos picks her up. Veljovic also picked her up, but there's going to be a foul on the floor. It's going to be against. Yeah, Wilson-Saltos picks it up on the bump. It's Fordham's 4th foul, so it's a ball under the basket for Dayton. Fordham with none to give, though. And it will be a drive under the basket by MG Talley, but it's rejected by Wilson-Saltos in transition for the Rams. Tia Morgan, left side, pulls up at the left elbow. That's good off the glass. Tia Morgan banks open on Saturday. 13-11 Fordham.
There we go. We got the full court press, adding some pressure to this Dayton Flyers team that, again, we talked about the momentum. When Fordham's playing at their tempo, look what's happening. They're getting a 2-point lead, and now it's forcing a timeout for the Flyers with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Big energy in the building. The Fordham fans in attendance getting real loud for that one. A timeout forced by the Fordham press. Nathan, you mentioned it right when they started it, and it's something that Coach B said that she wasn't totally going to focus on the way that she normally does. Usually, Coach Mitchell known for deploying that press on the full court, but today, knowing that they're a little short-handed, she didn't want to put that much pressure on her defenders to defend for the full length of the court, but Fordham picked up the Dayton Flyers about 75% of the way on that possession, eventually got a trap high up in the front court when they had already crossed the timeline, so a situation developed for the Flyers where head coach Williams Jeter had to rip the timeout, the first one of the game for Dayton, and a big defensive possession for the Rams now. 21-second shot clock, 2-point lead for Fordham, 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Stevens gets it across for Dawkins, back to Stevens. Now it's Lear. The Flyers swinging it across the top of the key. Stevens inside for Madal. Now right wing, it's Lear. Lear goes to the baseline, gets Niankin to fall away. Nice pump fake by Nio Lear, and the 2 is good, 13-all.
Great fake there to kind of take that 3-2 zone and kind of attack it right in its heart. Get that open J. And that's what Nio Lear does, and that's why she's a primary scorer for this Dayton Flyers team.
Lucretia Edwards finds the Yankin, down low for Wilson Saltos. She goes up for the lay, but she is fouled. And so another foul committed by the Dayton Flyers.
They're going to get in foul trouble early here, Tucker, and that's just not what you want for the Dayton Flyers, especially in a tie game.
Yeah, foul trouble in the entire game, but also still Fordham into the bonus in this first quarter as they already were. Wilson Salto shooting a pair, makes the first. Now 14-13 the lead for the Rams in what's been another solid first quarter. The Rams did put together a first frame against the Richmond Spiders that saw them with a 2-point lead at the end of 10 minutes, and they lead by 2 once again here in the first quarter against the Flyers. 15-13 for the Rams.
Look, and same thing, defense leads to offense. We're going to talk about Emma Wilson-Saltos probably all game. She already has 2 blocks, and every time there's kind of a turnover that they force, it always turns into points on the other side of the court.
Shantavia Dawkins has it, cross court for Nio Lear. Lear, right corner, wide open look for Nicole Stevens, no good. It was a bit of a contest for Omashola. Offensive rebound, Dayton. Stevens has it again on the right wing. Drives and then kicks it out for Lear. Now it's on the left wing. Shantavia Dawkins with time to shoot. Does not hit it off the right iron. Back up top for Nio Lear. Another good look, and she connects from straight away.
Yeah, right there for the Fordham defense. That was a communication error down low. They didn't know if it was Lucretia Edwards or Omoshula down on which block, and it led to an open perimeter shot.
It's 16-15, the Flyers lead. Shot by Niankin at the free throw line is no good. Rebounded by Nio Lear. 32 seconds to go in the first quarter. Lear pulls up from the right side, and the long 2 is good. She gets it to go. It bounces off the rim, then the middle of the backboard, and finds its way home. 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. Shot clock is turned off. It's a 3-point lead for the Dayton Flyers now. 18-15. The Rams trailing, and Coach B yelling from the sideline, trying to get her team a good look. Lucretia Edwards for 3, and she hits. Edwards answers, and it's 18-18. 2 seconds to go. Lear drives the length of the floor, puts up a 3 at the buzzer. It's no good. Off the near iron and to the left. 18 all, a tie score after 10 minutes. What an opening frame between the Flyers and Rams. Pair of teams that played a really fun season series last year. But here in the 25-26 season, it's turned out to be a really, really good game between two teams sitting at 8-7.
Yeah, and not the prettiest of basketball played either from either team, because each team has at least 5 turnovers so far in this first quarter, and that's been a problem for each of these teams. We talked to Coach B before the game. She wants no more than 17. And with Dayton having 30 last game, that really just hurt them in that second half. With Fordham tied with Dayton, that's great to see. And look, Lear is 6 for 8, and she has 13. It's almost like she can't miss, and they got to close her out on the perimeter. She's getting these open looks because there's so much confusion down low on those blocks. Again, with this zone that they wanted to run early in this game, got to rotate to the next open man, put your hands up, and vocalize where you are on the court.
Yeah, Nio Lear having an unbelievable game already, like you mentioned. Double-digit scoring in the first quarter alone. 13 points to her name on 6 for 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, an assist and a steal to go with it. Though, like you mentioned, a bit of sloppiness from both sides. 10 personal fouls between both teams, 6 for the Flyers, 4 for the Fordham Rams. 5 turnovers for Fordham, 4 turnovers for Dayton. And meanwhile, the Flyers 1 of 5 from the free throw line, so leaving some points out on the table. We're going to be right back with the start of the second quarter of action after 10 in the Bronx. It's 18 all between the Fordham Rams and the Dayton Flyers. We'll be right back with more Fordham women's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham Athletics with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
Welcome back to the Rose Hill Gym here on the campus of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. Tucker Austin, Nathan Rogers with you on this bit of a gloomy Saturday afternoon, but there's no gloom inside the roof of this building because the Fordham Rams are locked in a tight battle with the Dayton Flyers. It's 18-18 after 10 minutes of play, but before we start the second quarter, Nathan, we got to take a look over at the men's side because the men's Fordham Rams, did they just get a victory, Nathan?
Tucker, they did. A huge A-10 victory against the Bonnies up in New York. Our neighbors up there at St. Bonnie's, and 81-77 the final there. Huge momentum for the Fordham Rams men's team. Day-Day Reeves leading the scoring with 31 on 9 of 17 shooting, 1 of 1 from three-pointers, and Akira Jacobs too, 4 of 7 from 3. Everyone playing around 35 minutes on that starting lineup, and looking good at Rose Hill. How about that?
Great stuff to see. If you are a Fordham Ram fan out of the men's side, another team that's banged up, a lot like this women's squad, but battling through that adversity and getting a big win in conference play in the first season of head coach Mike Magpaio. But back here in the Rose Hill Gym this afternoon, the Rams and Flyers are back underway, and the first possession of the second quarter, ball out of bounds, last touched by the Dayton Flyers, and so a turnover, Fordham Rams basketball here.
And another note in that first quarter that I just want to get out too is like role players like Mason Hill and Lucretia Edwards getting those huge three-pointers, the only ones for the Fordham Rams, came so timely and started the momentum for the Fordham Rams. So timely shots from great role players so far.
And the Rams 2 of 4 from beyond the arc to start this game, measured against 1 of 8 is the start for the Flyers. Lucretia Edwards works to the right elbow, puts up a floater, but it's no good. Fight for the rebound, and Shantavia Dawkins comes away with it. Senior guard from Brampton, Ontario. Top of the key for Molly O'Riordan. Now they get it to Olivia Leung. Leung steps through the paint into the left corner for Nicole Stevens. That's no good. Rebounded by Tia Morgan after the air ball. Morgan tries to push the pace, but now slows it down. A minute gone in this second quarter. Lucretia Edwards pump fakes the three in the left corner. Now gets it back to Tia Morgan, left wing. Morgan switches the dribble to the right hand, and now Karen Easley on the right wing. She's guarded by Leung. Easley, dribble handoff for Edwards. Pass around the defender, tried to go with the bounce pass inside, but O'Riordan was all over it. The steal by Molly O'Riordan, and the Flyers have it.
Very ill-advised turnover there for Fordham.
Nicole Stevens, top of the key, guarded by Niankin. She's trying to direct some traffic. Olivia Leung now at the free throw line. She kicks it out for a Jacques Madal, who nearly gets the three to go off the glass, but it rims out, rebounded by Niankin, who gets it to Easley. Easley back to Niankin at the free throw line near the right elbow. Niankin is going to get whistled for the offensive foul there. Moving into the paint, she tried to go strong to the rack, but it was set feet underneath for the Dayton defender.
Coach B kind of yelling from the sideline, got to kick it out there. There's an open shooter on the perimeter. Instead of backing down the defender who's just going to fall and get that call every time, dish it out to your shooters.
No scoring yet in this second quarter, and almost 2 minutes are gone. With 8 to go, there's a foul away from the basketball as Wilson Saltos and Molly O'Riordan both wind up on the floor. It's going to be a foul against Wilson Saltos. It's her second of the game, and Fordham's second of the quarter.
Fordham's being very tough with Molly O'Riordan down on those low blocks, a lot of hand fighting, but look, when you're dealing with a player, a 6'2" sophomore like Molly O'Riordan, kind of have to.
O'Riordan has it for the Flyers left wing. Dribble handoff for Nicole Stevens. Stevens works into the paint against a couple defenders but can't get the floater to go. It's rebounded by Wilson Saltos. Karen Easley has it now as the clock ticks under 8. Easley loses it, but it goes right to Wilson Saltos, who stepped smoothly through the lane to lay it in with the right hand, and it's 20-18. The Rams retake the lead.
Right place, right time for Emma Wilson Saltos.
A captain who's played all of her years in college here with the Fordham Rams, Emma Wilson Saltos, a good defender, but starting to develop that offensive game this season. And there's a foul underneath. They call an offensive foul against Ajak Madal. It was Emma Wilson Saltos drawing the contact underneath, doing what she does best. It's another turnover forced by the Fordham Rams.
She has been the difference maker Emma Wilson Saltos has, and so far in this first half, she's doing the little things right. One thing that the Fordham Rams should be doing on their offense more is that off-ball movement. There's not a lot of off-ball screens, and it's not leaving enough good shots out on the perimeter.
And with their ability to move the ball a little bit more fluidly without Alexis Black in the lineup, it sort of almost necessitates that off-ball movement. You got to start to flow away from the basketball so you can open up those passing lanes. The way Mason Hill on the other end went up for the layup. It looked like there was plenty of contact, but she lost control of the ball out of bounds, and it's a turnover. Dayton with the inbound. They're fighting a full-court press. Mason Hill guarding Jada Johnson the length of the floor. She gets it to Fatima Ibrahim. Dribble handoff for Leung. Now top of the key, and then back to Leung. Leung, right elbow, gets it to the right block for Ibrahim. Top of the key, it's Madal. Now Leung. Leung cuts into the paint, but can't hold on to it. It was just at the end of the shot clock, but now a long pass down for Lucretia Edwards, who gets the defender out of the way with the pump fake. Shantavia Dawkins goes flying, and Edwards gets the 2 to go. 22-18, Fordham a 4-point lead.
How about Karen Easley all ball down low on that post, passing it up. Very poised of the freshman.
And a floated shot by Jada Johnson, but it's an offensive foul drawn by Karen Easley. Easley is so good at drawing those charges under the basket. She really plays a little bit like a Jalen Brunson type archetype with drawing those calls. And for a freshman just so experienced to be able to have that ability, Easley, a huge talent for the Rams, and a big reason why Fordham can still facilitate an offense without a 20 Burkame scorer in Alexis Black. Easley pulls up for 3 from the right wing, but that's no good, a little too strong. Fight for the rebound, there's a foul against Kayla Berry. Last touched by Berry, and they give the basketball to the Flyers.
Yeah, kind of an ill-advised shot selection there so early in the shot clock. Kind of want to open something up when you have a full set like that, but back on defense for the Fordham Rams.
Rams still with a 4-point lead, 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Ball is into the left block. Underneath, there's a block. Malia Johnson tried to get the shot up, but she was blocked by Veljovic. Top of the key 3, Molly O'Riordan, no good. Fight for the rebound. Wilson Saltos had a hand on it, but Olivia Leung also got a pair of paws on the basketball. It's jump ball, but Fordham with the possession arrow, and the Rams will hold on to it with a 4-point advantage.
A lot of physicality down low, and Fordham Rams are doing a good job of rotating to the other block and getting a set of hands up in the air with their bigs that the Flyers rely so much on.
You mentioned that rotation early on in the game. It has not faltered for the Rams so far halfway through the second. Easley tries to go with the left hand, cruising through the lane, but can't get it to go. Rebounded by Dayton. Leung down the floor, now under the basket for Fatima Ibrahim, who puts it in. It's just so tough when you have a mismatch underneath. Ibrahim, so tall.
With a play like that, too, a foul is actually not a bad play there with an open Ibrahim.
Well, as long as she doesn't make the bucket, because if
that's
you do
true.
foul, she might have a 3-point play. It's almost just let her go. Easley tries to get another short floater to go from the right post, but cannot. And it's rebounded by the Flyers now. They have a chance to tie here. 2-point game. Dayton's ball, clock just under 5 minutes. Left corner 3 is no good. Rebounded by Ibrahim, but she has it poked away by Kayla Berry. Ibrahim was looking for a foul but didn't get the call. It was last touched by Barry, though, so it'll be Dayton's ball under the basket. But first stoppage under 5 minutes, so we'll go to the media timeout. 22-20, the Rams with the lead, but scoreless in their last minute and 52 seconds of game time. We're going to be right back with more Fordham women's basketball. Don't go anywhere on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Michael Kay, WFUV class of 1982. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One-on-One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
And we welcome you back inside the Rose Hill Gym to the sounds of the whip. 22-20 the score between the Fordham Rams and the Dayton Flyers on this Saturday afternoon. What better place to spend a sort of gloomy Saturday? Plenty of cloud cover outside. There might even be a little bit of snow falling down in the New York area outside, but we're nice and cozy here in the friendly confines inside the Rose Hill Gym. I'm Tucker Austin, he's Nathan Rogers, and the Fordham Rams have sort of been keeping the Flyers at bay a little bit, but like you said in the first quarter, it was kind of a sloppy start, but ever since then, Fordham defensively has really sort of locked into this game and started to play as a cohesive unit with the rotations under the basket, making sure they're getting to their perimeter assignments as well. That was something that burned them against the Richmond Spiders. Such an efficient team, Richmond, and they made Fordham pay when they were leaving people open.
For sure, and I think for this first half, the storyline is momentum. Both of these teams have shown they can rebound and score in spurts, but it's a matter of momentum. And we talked about the last game that Dayton played. You know, they had 30 turnovers, and that just absolutely killed them. And same with Fordham. Turnovers in second quarter defensive lapses proved costly for this Fordham Rams team. And A-10 play is all about who has the most momentum, and that's going into the second half that can lead to the W. And if you're at home at Rose Hill, you got your squad behind you, you got the Bronx behind you, and make that extra pass. We talked about it a little bit during the break. Make more passes to open up the passing lanes, because the Flyers are doing so well on the perimeter trapping, whereas Fordham's doing such a good job trapping in the paint. So both of these teams are doing really well getting their assignments, but I think Fordham Rams should be doing more passing on the offensive side.
Yeah, Fordham's had that high-low game working a little bit in this game at times. Sometimes there's been blocks underneath when there's a mismatch. There is a lot of height on this Flyers squad, but usually the Rams can get them moving enough. Nia Lear has it to start after the media timeout. Her floater is no good from the left block. Rebounded by Tia Morgan. Morgan pushes the pace, gets it forward for Niankin. Niankin spins away from O'Riordan but can't get it to go from the right block. It's rebounded by Fatima Ibrahim. Transition for the Flyers. Nia Lear. Molly O'Riordan left wing. Long cross-court pass. It's corralled by Malia Johnson. Fatima Ibrahim pulls from the baseline for two. And it's pure. Ibrahim showing off a little bit of that mid-range game. We've seen her mostly work out of the paint today. But she can also score from outside the painted area. 22-22. We're tied up. 3:54 to go in the second quarter. Tia Morgan, left wing for the Rams. She's going to get it to Lucretia Edwards, opposite side of the floor. Edwards gives it back to Morgan, who sends it down low for Niankin. Niankin tries to go to the rack. Can't get it to go. It's picked up by Kayla Berry on the opposite end, but her jumper's no good, rebounded by Johnson.
Yeah, here with that, if you get that rebound, make that extra pass, you have 10 more seconds on the shot clock.
Lear pulls a left wing three, that's no good, off the front of the iron, rebounded by Tia Morgan again. Rams have some numbers going the other way. Morgan finds Niankin, who steps just inside the three-point line and hits the long two. Ornella Niankin in rhythm that time from the left side. Gives the Fordham Rams their 2-point lead back. It's 24-22.
Finding that vice in transition is just what the Fordham Rams are doing so well at.
There was nearly an answer on the other end by Jada Johnson, but it was missed. O'Riordan's rebound was also missed, but then another offensive chance. Malia Johnson gets the board and the putback, and we're tied at 24 again, but way too good of a look in the right corner on that first three-point shot. Veljovic has it for the Rams, top of the key, now 2:40 to go. Niankin pulls up when she got a shot from just outside the paint to the right of the block on the right side, no good. Rebounded by Dayton. Fight for the basketball, Veljovic takes it away. The steal that time on Jada Johnson. Veljovic finds Edwards, wide open three right wing. She hits!
That was
Edwards, 27-24 Rams.
Absolutely pure in transition. They're killing the Flyers in transition. That's where they find that open man, the shooter in the perimeter. There you go.
Molly O'Riordan, top of the key, gets it to the left side for Malia Johnson. 3-point advantage for the Fordham Rams. After the three by Edwards, Malia Johnson loses the basketball. It rolls on the line, the baseline that is, out of bounds, Rams basketball.
Rams are doing such a good job of trapping on the far side low block against the baseline. They're just suffocating the offense over there, doing such a good job, and that's why they're up 3 with just over 2 minutes to go in the first half.
It's 9 turnovers in the game now for the Dayton Flyers. Second turnover of the game for Malia Johnson. The referees,
something about a sub.
Seem like they're talking some things over with Coach B, maybe an improper sub. Veljovic has to come out of the game briefly. Mason Hill checks in. Didn't quite see what part of the exchange went wrong, but the 5 out there for the Rams is Lucretia Edwards, who just hit the 3. Precious Omashola, Karen Easley on the ball. London Lilly and Mason Hill out there now. The 5 for Dayton, Lear, Stevens, Ibrahim, Talley, and Leung. Easley working from her right to her left, finds Hill, who passes it to Precious Omashola at the right block. She passed up an open look under the basket, but Omashola still gets it to go with the right hand, 29-24. Rams building on their advantage now, looking for a stop, 137. Nio Lear is blocked by Omashola, but they call a late foul. It looked like Omashola got plenty of basketball there, but I think they're going to send Nio Lear to the free throw line. Foul on Omashola.
Tucker, I don't know if I agree with that call. When you're straight up vertical and all you get is ball, with a late whistle, a tough break for the Fordham Rams.
It looked a little odd, and from my perspective at least, Nio Lear goes up. Ball goes straight up in the air because of the rejection, but Lear's arms and the rest of her body didn't really move in any way that would have suggested that she was contacted by Precious Omashola, but nonetheless, the late whistle comes in. Lear missed her first, but made the second. Lear now 1 of 4 at the free throw line. Edwards gonna pull the right corner 3, but that's no good. She thought about it for a second. There was that slight moment of hesitation, and she winds up with the miss. Nicole Stevens in the right corner, guarded by Mason Hill, but she gets it down low for MG Talley. Talley working on Omashola, right block. Omashola, good defense, no good on the layup, rebounded by Ibrahim. More good defense by Omashola as Lilly gets her hands in there to force the jump ball. Possession to the Flyers. But man, what a good job by Precious Omashola underneath to smother the 2 trees for the Flyers.
And it's the energy on the bench that just shows you that Fordham wants it more. Granted, we are on the Fordham side, but every single play, it's so electric on the bench, and that just shows you the whole identity of this Fordham team. Get 2% better every time.
And with about a minute to go here before halftime, there is a foul on the floor before the inbound got away. It's coming against Lucretia Edwards, but it does force Dayton into the bonus, so a bit of a careless foul there as Dayton goes from an inbound play to shooting a pair of free throws. Lucretia Edwards takes a seat. Tia Morgan checks back in, and it's Olivia Leung at the line for the first time today. Her first is good, makes it 29-26, a 1-possession game once again. Leung, a 70% free throw shooter on the season. And She makes the second of 2 to go perfect at the line. Leung had 10 points off the bench against Loyola Chicago. And so it'll be an inbound for the Fordham Rams here, up by 2 with 1 minute and 8 seconds to play in the first half. Dayton's in the bonus. Fordham, it's not quite there yet. Dayton has a foul to give. Clock gonna tick under 1 minute here. Easley, top of the key. She's guarded by Dawkins. Easley drives into the lane and goes up with the right hand. So poised for a freshman. Karen Easley gets the layup to go, gives the Rams a 4-point lead. Leung, top of the key, guarded by Lily. Lily giving her problems. Easley also in the area. She kicks to Nicole Stevens. Now it's top of the key for Reardon. O'Riordan, 14 seconds on the shot clock. Shantavia Dawkins moves it down low. Mason Hill guarding MG Talley, who tried to go up for the layup. I believe, couldn't quite see the call. There's a whole lot of bodies under the basket. I think it's going to be an inbound here for Nicole Stevens after a block that goes out of bounds. Stevens inbounds to O'Riordan. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Nicole Stevens, left wing, steps back, fires it down low for O'Riordan, who puts it up at 1 second on the shot clock and puts it in. Insane work to beat the buzzer by the Flyers, but it's 31-29, 14 seconds to go in the second quarter. Rams, last possession possibly of the half. Easley drives into the lane, puts it up from near the free throw line, but from the reaction of the Dayton bench, that is going to be an offensive foul. Push off by Easley. And so now the Flyers will get the last laugh here in the first half with a chance to try and either tie or take the lead. 6 seconds. They get it down for Nicole Stevens, who puts up an easy 2 at the right post, and that will do it for the first half. Fordham a bit sloppy to end the second quarter, allowed Dayton to work their way back into the game, and we were tied at the end of 10, we're tied at the end of 20. It's 31 for the Rams and 31 for the Flyers.
Kind of a careless end to the first half for the Fordham Rams. It seems like every possession they get, there's some type of unlock right off the rim. They played, talk about really good defense, but just better offense. And after that transition, they just cut up the full court press that Coach B drew up, and you give your best shooter a chance. And great playing from both ends of the court for both teams today in the first half, but knotted at 31.
It's been a lot of aggressiveness in this game.
A lot of physicality down low.
Certainly a lot of physicality, especially with the number of fouls that there's been in this game. Fordham's picked up 9 personals, and Dayton also picked up 9 personals in that first half, so 18 fouls between both teams in that first half of play. Both teams also turned the ball over 9 times apiece. So things have looked honestly pretty even. For the score to also be even, it makes sense so far. The Rams 3 of 7 from 3 though, and the Dayton Flyers 1 of 14. You kind of look at that mark and wonder if Dayton was able to knock down a few more of those threes, this would be a much different looking game. But the Rams, their game plan seems to be working so far, but like we mentioned, a bit of a sloppy end of the second quarter. Fordham gonna have to figure out how to finish the quarter in the second half and start to try and pull away from this Dayton team. Fordham seeking their first win in conference play. The lead scorer for the Rams is Lucretia Edwards with her 8 points, 3 of 4 from the floor, 2 of 3 from 3, and an assist to her name. Fordham really spreading the scoring around in this game. Meanwhile, Nio Lear for the Dayton Flyers, as advertised today, 14 points. That's almost half of her team's total. She's been powering the entire offense in this game, and we'll look to try and get her Flyers by these Rams in the second half. 20 minutes gone and 20 to go, but for the rest of the halftime break, we're going to send it to a exclusive one-on-one interview. Dr. Robert Kissel talking prediction modeling with Dominic Sansone and Thomas Tisdale. You can take a listen to a part of that interview coming up next. And on the other side of that, in about 10 minutes or so, we'll have the start of the second half of play between the Fordham Rams and the Dayton Flyers. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
Welcome back to One on One. I'm Tom Stisdale, joined alongside by Dominic Sansone, and we have a very special guest with us today. We have Dr. Robert Kissel, who's a finance professor at the Gabelli School of Business here at Fordham. And before he came to Fordham, he had a very successful Wall Street career at JP Morgan and UBS. But the reason we have him on today isn't necessarily for his finance expertise, but it's because he runs a sports prediction and ranking model as well as an app called Algo Sports 23. And I'll let him explain it a little bit more in detail, but in essence, it's a very complicated computer model which predicts college football and NFL, but I also hear you're looking to expand to other sports as well. And before we get into some of the more technical questions, could you just briefly explain to us, Dr. Kissel, what got you into running the sports prediction model and then generally your background?
Terrific. Well, Thomas and Dominic, first, thanks for having me on the show. It's wonderful. This is exciting. It's always exciting to participate with, Fordham in any capacity. Start with a little bit of my background. My background was undergrad applied math and statistics. I'm a Fordham alum as well. I got my PhD in economics at Fordham, and I moved into Wall Street. So my roles in Wall Street was developing the algorithmic trading models, the models we hear now, that's high frequency trading, electronic trading. So my teams worked, we developed the theory, the quantitative models behind those trading algorithms. I've always had a big interest in sports, soccer, football, basketball, all of the sports. And as I'll say as an academic quant, practicing quant, I always wondered, how is it that this group of people are coming up with predictions? If it's Vegas, if it's a selection committee, how are they coming up with the predictions? How are they coming up with the probabilities? And then after we started thinking, I said, this is the exact same quantitative models that we're already using for quantitative finance, for predictions, probabilities, forecasting. So we started applying these models to sports data sets. We found they were extremely successful. So this is probably, not something over the last few weeks, few months, few years. This is probably going back 15, 20 years in the making. So Algo Sports 23 is an aggregation now of over 250 quantitative sports prediction models, ranking models, probability models, counting, linear, nonlinear, optimization. More recently, we've introduced different types of machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, artificial intelligence. And our final prediction is based on an AI methodology, some AI logic that determines which models are most appropriate for predicting the winning teams and the winning scores in which sports. So we're not even sitting down saying, hey, these models work best for college football. These are best for the NBA. We have an AI overlay that's determining the best models for the best sports. So that's a little overview of the model.
Thank you for that. You mentioned that this model is pretty much the exact same process, obviously with a few tweaks that you used in Wall Street. And I think a lot of times for more casual fans or maybe not so statistic driven sports fans, it's difficult to see the connection between, finance and, the sports world. And I was just wondering if you could explain, and you can be as technical or as general as you'd like, what that process looks like. And then also, how is that different from the way that other models are built with, their inherent flaws?
Okay, certainly. So I'll give two approaches that's used in finance. So one, we may be looking at the probability of a company defaulting on their bond payments, on their interest payments. So that's a probability model. So I just wanted to understand from 0 to 100%, what's the likelihood that a company is not going to pay back its bond when it matures or make a coupon payment. And there's certain data that we incorporate into that analysis, and the outcome is that probability from 0 to 100. This has an exact relationship when two teams are playing each other. What's the probability that one team is going to beat the other? So even without getting into the complex math, and I do want to say that the math is maybe a little complex, not as complex as what people say. I think at quants, we like to impress people. We try to make what we're doing seem super sophisticated, advanced. Why? As I tell my students, we want to come across as knowing everything. But number two, from a business world, job security. If we say, oh, this is really hard, nobody wants our jobs. So we feel good about that. Only half kidding there. So we could use the same models, the same approach. Now it's a different data set to determine the probability of a team winning. Another type of model is a prediction model where I'm predicting the outcome. It could be stock returns. It can be the number of shares I'm going to trade over a certain period of time. And this has a relationship with predicting the final score, predicting that margin. How much is a home team going to beat the away team by? If it's greater than 0, home team wins. Less than 0, the home team's going to lose. And within that prediction, there's also a standard error. And that standard error allows us to also compute the probabilities. And these models could be as simple as a linear regression model. It could be something getting a little more complex, linear regression, or moving into something that's completely data-driven, like MI artificial intelligence. Just here's the data, figure out the relationship, and give us the outcome. So some of the models are really straightforward, simple on the surface, but what we're doing is calculating, estimating the probability of one team winning and what that score is likely to be. And we've been extremely successful with the models over the years.
Perfect. Dr. Kissel, I got a couple questions for you. First, I'll start with one on the rankings. Obviously, the Associated Press and Coaches Poll released their weekly rankings of the top 25 teams at the FBS level. However, the Algo Sports 23 model has a little bit of a different ranking system from the looks of it. Some notable differences. You got Notre Dame at number 5, Georgia put below them at 7, Ole Miss and A&M 11 and 12 respectively. Obviously, much different than the AP and the college football playoff and the way things stand there. So in terms of specific metrics that the algorithm, I know you said it's a little bit of a combination of a lot of different sources, but what exactly does it value to get to those rankings? Is it strength of schedule? Is there certain metrics that it hones in on, or is it just more so a conglomerate of a bunch of different models and predictions?
Oh, Dominic, it's a terrific question. I'm glad you asked that. So the model is based on different aspects. We'll call different prediction metrics. One is we'll talk about is accounting models. Just how many teams, how many games did we correctly pick the winner? Another game is looking at the probability. So if we look at models that say for all the games that the model assesses the home team has a 70% likelihood of winning, of all those games we predicted, did we get 70% correcting that? If we did, the model is terrific. We also incorporate the score, the final score. What should the team win by? So if we say they win by 7, they win by 9, okay, off by 2. If they won by say 4, we were off by 3. So we're looking at that error the same way we do with regression analysis, the mean squared error. How close are we getting to that final prediction? Next thing I want to say, the model does look at the common opponents. And it's really difficult for us to look at common opponents, because where do we stop? We could look at the common opponent of 2 teams, but what about the next level for the common opponents? Could be common opponents of the other teams they played. Isn't that just as important? And then it may be teams that there's no relationship, the common opponents of the common opponents. And what selection committees are, if it's the FBS committee, if it's the AP coaches poll, very subjective. The coaches aren't, getting into that detail. It's more what they talk about is what they feel that this team should have won by more, should have won by less. A lot of when you get into subjective bias, now you run into the situation that for me as a person, I'm more familiar with what happened this weekend, this week. But aren't those early games just as important? Okay, so that it's very easy for a person to eliminate or lessen that effect. Our models are creating equal weightings based on these metrics. And because it's data driven, we're really able to get into those, what we call the common opponents of the common opponents. So you may see situations with a sports model that will have a team ranked, say, 8. The team wins their game, but they fall in the rankings. Now, why do they fall in the rankings? Well, they could fall in the rankings because some of the teams that they've beaten previously lost their games.
And we welcome you back inside the Rose Hill Gym on the campus of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. Thanks so much for sticking around and listening to our halftime content, discussion with Dr. Robert Kissel about the world of prediction modeling. Thanks to Dominic Sansone and Thomas Tisdale for putting that interview together. You can catch the rest of it on the WFUV Sports YouTube page in full. But now we welcome you back to start the second half of action between the Fordham Rams and the Dayton Flyers. We're tied after 20 minutes of play. It's 31-all. Tucker Austin and Nathan Rogers with you, of course. And Nathan, it was an excellent first half from Nio Lear. It was a really solid first half from Dayton in terms of sort of getting to their spots and using their size under the basket to their advantage. But at times, Fordham was able to shut down that size under the basket and shut down perimeter looks. They've held Dayton to 1 of 14 from 3 in this game. Big reason why this one's still tied.
And look, for Fordham Rams, the story has been strength in numbers, especially down low. I mean, look at 5'5" freshman guard Karen Easley is leading all players today in defensive rebounds with 4. I mean, how has that happened? It's just hustle and determination. We're going to talk about Emma Wilson-Saltos probably all game because of her hustle and her ability to turn defense into offense. But look, also the story of the game has been second chance points. For Dayton, they're leading with 12 to Fordham's 3. So if you're Fordham in this second half, again, some of the Rogers keys to the game were control the paint and control the glass. And they've been doing an okay job of doing that, but especially with what we've seen with Ugne so far, sitting on the bench, losing that kind of interior presence, especially with a player that's 4th in the A10 in field goal percentage down low on that block. It's a big blow to have if you're the Fordham Rams, but look, it's been tied after the first quarter. We're tied at the first half. It's been a pretty even matchup, each team having their vices, but Fordham Rams need to limit the second chance points, especially in the paint.
And to clarify, when we talked to Coach B before the game, Ugne Sertauteta's name didn't really come up in discussions between her and the media. They did ask about Carissa Antoine, who's been out for some time. She played a couple of games early in the season, but then re-aggravated an injury, or was just re-injured, rather, and has been out ever since. But she is dressed and available for this game, and she has not had any warm-up apparel on. But Ugne Sertauteta, as you mentioned, has a large amount of bandage and wrapping on her right leg. It's the leg that she came up short on in their last game against Richmond a little bit. She came up hobbling, and that's happened a couple of times so far this year. It also happened during the LaSalle game here at the Rose Hill Gym, but Ugne did not check into the game during the first half, and I doubt we'll see her in the second half because she still has her shooting long-sleeve T-shirt on, and she's been parked at the end of the bench for pretty much the majority of this game. All the other Fordham Rams are still available, though, but like you said, big loss to not have her size on the floor against a team with as much size as the Dayton Flyers. Back underway here in the Bronx. Dayton with the first possession of the second half. Nio Lear has it at the right elbow. Top of the key 3 from Molly O'Riordan, who starts the second half with a bang, a 3 from the big center for Dayton. That's 6'2", one of the tallest players on the floor today. Easley's pass across is tipped away by Ajak Madal.
Yeah, Molly O'Riordan, look, we talked about how, she has such a big presence inside the paint, but she can pull up from anywhere, and she's so mobile off ball, which makes her a nightmare to guard, especially down low, but also beyond the arc.
Karen Easley at the right post gets it to Veljovic, who cuts into the lane as well. Now back to Niankin on the other side. Niankin left block, a left-handed layup is good. Ornella Niankin has just been showing so much improvement over the last 2 weeks or so. Gets another good contested layup to go from the low block, 34-33 Dayton. Right wing for Nio Lear. Lear drives into the middle of the paint, but picks up the whistle. Emma Wilson-Saltos the foul. And it's another late whistle to the benefit of Nio Lear, but she'll go to the free throw line again. Hasn't been super successful at the charity stripe today, only 1 of 4, but getting another 2 shots here.
Look, and Nio Lear loves that like fadeaway double pump in the air and just is so good at drawing fouls. We've seen it about 3 times today already, where Emma Wilson-Saltos meets her at, has a Statue of Liberty hand up there and just meets her up top, but can't grab all ball and leads to a foul.
For Wilson-Saltos, it's her 3rd of the game.
Yeah.
So she has to take a seat for a little while. Nio Lear hits the 2nd of 2, but she did miss another one, and it's 2 of 6 from the stripe on the night for Nio Lear. Easily thought about the 3. They're going to call her for that double dribble, as she did think about the 3 and then put the ball back on the floor. It was one of those close double dribbles, one of the ones that they stopped calling against players the likes of LeBron James when they are on their way up the floor. But that time Easley gets banged for the double dribble, and it's still 35-33, 2-point advantage for the Dayton Flyers.
As a Warriors fan, I'll agree with you on that one.
Molly O'Riordan, top of the key, guarded by Precious Omashola now, but she gets it to Nio Lear. Lear, right elbow, working down low. Got a couple defenders on her. Sink back, but now drives into the lane. Can't get the layup to go, but did have Tia Morgan in a bit of a spin cycle. Morgan now other end, right wing. Received the pass from Karen Easley, but now it's back to Easley. Left wing. Easley drives the right post. Now kicks it out for Edwards. Edwards is guarded by Stevens. Back to Easley, top of the key. 12 seconds on the shot clock here. Easley gets a screen from Omashola. Now tosses it down low for Omashola. Right corner, Lucretia Edwards can't get it to go. A fight for the rebound. Easley looked to have hit it off of Nio Lear's hand, but they call it last touched by Karen Easley. Inbound under the basket for Dayton, but interesting possession there for the Rams and some good offensive movement. 2 minutes gone in this 3rd quarter already, and a 2-point lead for the Dayton Flyers. Nicole Stevens gets it to Molly Reardon. Molly O'Riordan, top of the key, into the left corner for Nicole Stevens. Stevens working on Easley. Left block. From just inside the paint, a right-handed layup won't go, but an offensive rebound here by Jacques Medal. Into the lane goes Shantavia Dawkins through contact. Can't get the layup to go, but the foul is called. 2nd team foul against the Rams in the 3rd quarter. No, they call the offensive foul against Shantavia Dawkins. My mistake, Nathan.
There's a lot of players hitting the deck today early.
Bodies everywhere.
Yep, and putting your body on the line for your team is exactly what you want if you're Coach B. Great play there, and gives offensive possession for the Fordham Rams.
For Dawkins, it's her first personal. She wasn't happy with the call. Karen Easley, how do you do? Streaking through the paint, puts it up with the right hand, fading away from the basket, and ties the game at 35. Ensuing possession for Dayton. Nio Lear can't get the layup to go. Rebound Fordham. Karen Easley kicks it out for Mason Hill. Hill goes down low for Omashola, who bodies up O'Riordan and puts it through. Precious Omashola, using her big frame under the basket, gives the Rams the lead, 37-35.
Again, it's the momentum, the defense into offense. It's just what sparks for the Fordham Rams.
6-1 run in the last 2.5 minutes of game time. Pass to the baseline for Nio Lear. Didn't get the first one, but got her own rebound and put it back up and in, 37-all.
And that's why your coach always tells you to follow your own shot. Leads to a second chance points there.
Tia Morgan, Karen Easley, right wing 3. That's no good. Omashola's on the rebound, though, but she hits the deck. Molly O'Riordan was in the area, got her hands on the basketball. Looked like a jump ball. Possession arrow for the Fordham Rams. Now moving left to right is Fordham, right to left are the Dayton Flyers as the floor is flipped. The Dayton Flyers wearing scarlet red road uniforms with white letters and navy numbers. The Rams in home whites with maroon letters and numbers and some maroon accents. And the inbound from Mason Hill hits London Lilly on the bench. Some smiles over there for the Rams, but not for Coach B. That's a turnover by Fordham. Nicole Stevens inbounds to Shantavia Dawkins. 6:20 to go in the third quarter. Ajak Madal, right wing. Now Nio Lear again. Lear up to 17 points now in the game, but the pass inside gets to Fatima Ibrahim, who puts it off the glass from the left block, and it's 39-37. Flyers retake the lead. Veljovic to Morgan. Pass inside to Omashola, was slapped away by Ibrahim. And diving for the basketball was Dawkins, but it rolls out of bounds. Last touched by Dawkins. It'll be Fordham's ball, but it was a nice play in the interior by Ibrahim. A loud, emphatic slap of the basketball to get it away from the hands of Omashola.
Well, there, if you're the guard out on the perimeter and you're trying to get the ball on that post, you want to bounce pass, so there is no chance of that, corner backhand type motion to get out and intercept that pass. Want to get that bounce pass in there, and kind of a communication error, but nonetheless, still possession arrow in favor of the Fordham Rams with just under 6 minutes to go.
This game's been so tight all afternoon so far. We're almost halfway through the third quarter, and still it's a 2-point game. 39-37 the lead for Dayton. The largest lead for Fordham was 5 back in the second quarter with about a minute and a half to go. With 3.5 to go in the first was the last time that Dayton had their largest lead, which was 4. So tight game all around. Mason Hill getting ready for an inbound here for the Rams. She finds Tia Morgan, and play is back underway. Clock just under 6. Mason Hill feigned the pick, but there's contact in the middle of the paint. Wilson Saltos was on the floor. And they call it against Ibrahim. The off-ball foul drawn this time by Emma Wilson Saltos, who's back in the game with 3 personals against her. Morgan's inbound finds Mason Hill. Now it's Kayla Berry, dribble handoff. Tia Morgan steps back. A 3 from the top of the key is no good. Loose rebound, and it's tipped out of bounds, but it was last touched by the Fordham Rams. Good chase by the Dayton Flyers.
Kind of an improvised elevator screen that led to that top of the key 3 that was so open, just couldn't convert.
Full court press, but Nio Lear is able to break it. Cuts through multiple defenders, finds Ajak Madal in the right corner for 3, but that open look is no good. Ball gets away from Wilson Saltos, but it's Fordham's basketball. It was last touched by Olivia Leung. Could have been a bit of a disaster down on that end for the Rams. It's still a 2-point advantage for the Flyers, but the Rams have been pulling almost even, if not in front of Dayton in this third quarter so far. 5:20 to go now in the third frame. 39-37. Veljovic left wing for the lead. It's no good, a little bit too long, and it bounces out of bounds. Nicole Stevens lets it get there, and it's Flyers ball. Couple of switches for the Rams. Kayla Berry takes a seat. Ornella Nyankin is back in. Press broken by Leung and the Flyers, but the pass to Ibrahim gets away from her and winds up out of bounds. Another turnover by the Flyers. Some careless work with the basketball.
Fordham should be aware of how Dayton is just cutting and slicing up that full court press so easily. Luckily,
it was last touched by the Rams, so it will be Dayton's ball. Stevens got a shot up immediately after the inbound, but she was fouled, so she's going to go to the free throw line. Bit of an odd sequence there on the other end. I thought that it was a foul against Dayton, but they actually got an inbound after a foul. I believe it was a foul against the Fordham Rams. But Karen Easley picks up the shooting foul this time. It's Easley's second personal. Stevens makes the second and opens up the gap to a 4-point game now, 41-37. Easley breaks the press. Tia Morgan's going to take that right corner three. That's no good. Rebounded by Lear. Lear's got some room and speed. Right elbow, but it gets away from her. Easily falls on top of it. They call the jump ball because Lear had her hand on it. Possession arrow pointing towards the Dayton Flyers.
Great heads-up play by Karen Easley. Getting your hands on that ball right in transition when Nio Lear is so scary going downhill if you're the Fordham defense. But look, nevertheless, for this team, it's all but effort, in this third quarter with just under 5 minutes to go and holding basically all the other players on Dayton under 10 points is huge. But for Fordham, it's been strength in numbers, offense and defense, and that's why they're hanging in close with a good Flyers team.
Yeah, Ibrahim the only other player in double digits than Nio Lear. Ibrahim's up to 11 now on 5 of 5 shooting from the floor. She has a perfect night shooting the basketball so far, and with 8 rebounds to go with it, she's approaching a double-double. Meanwhile, like you mentioned, for the Rams, Karen Easley, 8 points, Lucretia Edwards, 8 points. Those are the 2 leaders. As a team, they're shooting 40% from the field, which is technically, from a percentage standpoint, it's better than the Dayton Flyers, but the three-point discrepancy, especially in this second half, is starting to rear its head. 1 of 2 from beyond the arc are Dayton. 0 of 5 for the Fordham Rams, really struggling to start from 3. They're going to have to turn that around if they want to work their way back into this game. Also, 2 fouls apiece for both sides halfway through this third quarter, but both of them are shooting fouls against the Fordham Rams, both of them on the floor for Dayton. We're going to step away for just a moment, the media timeout in the third quarter, but we'll be right back with more Fordham women's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, my name is Ryan Rucco, WFUV class of 2008. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One-on-One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
We welcome you back into the Rose Hill Gym on the campus of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. Tucker Austin and Nathan Rogers with you on this Saturday afternoon. I actually got a chance at halftime to look outside, and much to my dismay, Nathan, it's not nearly as close to a snowy winter wonderland that I was hoping it would be outside. It is rainy. It is like 40 degrees outside. It's slightly warm enough for it to just be another rainy day.
I still got my tan from Florida,
in a relatively
so I'm good.
cold January. But either way, we're still protected from the elements here in the Rose Hill Gym and having a great time on this Saturday afternoon. But outside of this gym, we got to check in on what else is going on in the Atlantic 10 on the women's side, because we already know that Fordham got the win over Bonnie's on the men's side. But how's the rest of the A10 shaking out on this Saturday?
It's been an eventful Saturday, to say the least, for the A10 conference. URI, 5-0 already in the A10. And St. Bonaventure, their third A10 loss in conference play so far, with a commanding 66-45 win. And St. Joseph's is playing LaSalle right now in the third quarter. They're up by 6 with 6 minutes to go in that third quarter.
And real quick, first possession out of the new media timeout was a steal by Emma Wilson-Saltos, but then she goes down really hard on the other end in transition. Just really looked to kind of crash down into the floor with limited control on the fall. She's going to go take a seat, but does walk off the court on her own power. We'll keep an eye on Emma Wilson-Saltos as this game continues, one of the captains for the Fordham Rams this year. Karen Easley has it after the inbound. The Rams trail by 4. Top of the key 3 for Lucretia Edwards, and that'll cut into the lead. It's a 1-point game once again, 41-40 with 4.5 to play in the third.
Banks open.
Banked from the top of the key. A pretty looking shot from Edwards. And that's a 10-second violation. Coach B is really pumped up. She just gave a flex celly out onto the court a little bit to her team. Excellent work by the Fordham defense to force the 10-second violation. And they have a chance to take a lead now here after being down 4 out of the media break.
How about the athletic spidey sense from Precious Omoshula to get your hand up on that ball and deflect it? It caused that 10-second violation.
Niankin received the inbound from Morgan, and she gets it back to Easley, the primary ball carrier now for the Rams, with Alexis Black out with an injury. Top of the key 3 from Easley is no good, but the offensive board by Precious Omoshula, and she gets the finish. And it's the Rams by 1 again, 42-41. Cross-court feed for Nicole Stevens, who's going to go all the way to the rack, but too strong with the right hand. Rebounded by Lucretia Edwards. There's a foul by Shantavia Dawkins against a driving Karen Easley in transition. The Fordham Rams are going to have to come and take it out onto the basket on the opposite end, but a pretty interesting foul taken there by Dayton. It's their 4th against the team in this quarter with 4 minutes to go. They have none to give.
Tamika Williams' team off the breaks in the second half so far just come out flat-footed. Seems like the Fordham Rams are just taking advantage when they can, especially in transition.
Omoshula coming up for a screen to help out Morgan. Morgan pulls from the free throw line and hits. Tia Morgan showing that experience with the midi. Morgan, the grad school transfer from Chicago, Illinois, and it's 44-41. Ensuing possession for Dayton. Right corner 3, O'Riordan, no good. Gets her own miss. Finds Ibrahim underneath, who would have missed her first shot of the afternoon, but she was fouled, so Ibrahim going to go to the line and gets the chance to protect that 5-of-5 mark from the field.
Fordham's got to be careful about these fouls here in this third quarter. It's the third time the Flyers are getting to the line early in this third quarter, and the Fordham Rams are shooting so well in the third quarter so far, almost 50%. 6 of 12 from the field, but each team not shooting so well from 3 to start out this second half.
It's the second personal for Omoshula. Edwards also has 2, Easley has 2, Wilson Saltos has 3 fouls, so certainly something to look after. Ibrahim makes the second of 2, 1 of 2 on that trip, and it's 44-42, 2-point lead for the Rams. 3 minutes to play in the third quarter in what's been a tight game from wire to wire in this one. A lot of lead changes and back and forth between these two squads. Ornella Niankin with a midi that's no good from right around the left elbow. Rebounded by Dayton, but the ball gets away. Niankin almost got the steal, but on the floor doing the dirty work, Ornella Niankin forces the turnover with the possession arrow pointing towards the Rams.
And that's exactly why Coach B calls her the team's X factor. She's the most consistent. She's got such a high motor. She was praised for how she worked out in the summer and just wanted to get so much better, and she works so hard and seamlessly fits in with this like 2% philosophy of just getting better each day. And even though she missed her kind of open midi free throw line extended there, she makes up for it right across the timeline, and it results in another possession for these Fordham Rams.
Leads the team in blocks, does Ornella Niankin, but she does just so much more than that. Edwards works to the left post and hits from just about a half step outside the paint, and it's a 4-point game once again, 46-42, 2.5 minutes to go in the third. The Rams have found some rhythm here in this third quarter. The defense just needs to stay solid, as it has for most of this game. Niall Lear, top of the key 3, is short. Don't know if Edwards got a piece of it, but it's rebounded by the Rams.
Kind of surprised that Molly O'Riordan wasn't in the paint at all in that possession. They're playing kind of a 5-wide outside perimeter set.
Lucretia Edwards picks it up at the top of the key and moves it into the paint. It's a jump ball, possession arrow pointing towards the Flyers. Fordham, a 9-2 run in the last 3:08 of game time, 3 of their last 4 from the floor. Meanwhile, Dayton, 1 of their last 5 from the floor, and 1 of their last 12 from three-point land. Fordham doing an excellent job shutting down the perimeter. Lear, pass inside was tipped away, intended for Madal, and they call it in the direction of the Fordham Rams. Carissa Antoine and London Lilly on the bench, showing a little that way. Ornella Yankin inbounds it to Karen Easley. 1:50 to go in the third quarter, and still a 4-point lead for the Rams, trying to add to that. Into the right corner, Edwards fakes the three, steps inside, a little euro and a nice soft touch with the right hand, Lucretia Edwards. Now at 15 points in the game is Edwards to lead the Rams, and it's 48-42, largest lead of the ball game for Fordham. Driving into the lane goes Nio Lear, throws it up off the side of the backboard, but she draws the contact, and Lear will go to the free throw line. 1:22 to go in the third.
How about Lucretia Edwards, too, for the Fordham Rams, having a game of the season so far and putting up numbers. She's a wing-sized guard, but the way she opens up the court for everyone, we talked about how Alexis Black is out, and it's been strength in numbers so far. Over, 9 players so far for this Fordham Rams team have contributed. And that's for good reason, because players like Lucretia Edwards are pulling up from 3, and the bank's been open this afternoon. How about that, Tucker?
Yeah, Lucretia Edwards now matching her season high in points with 15. Any more will be a new season high. The free throw, both free throws that is, good for Nio Lear, and it's 48-44. Tia Morgan has it for the Fordham Rams. Good defense from O'Riordan, top of the key, but there's an open look in the corner for Mason Hill. That's no good, rebounded by Leung. Fordham has numbers back, though. Leung has to slow it down. Olivia Leung up top for Nicole Stevens. Nicole Stevens, a quieter game in this one, but she finds Nio Lear, who misses the layup. She got a good look at the baseline, but it's rebounded by the Rams. Mason Hill gonna bring it across the timeline. Steps to the right wing. Olivia Leung picks her up. 40 seconds to go in the third quarter here. Fordham protecting a 4-point lead. Tia Morgan calls the play. Mason Hill. Now Lucretia Edwards right wing, looking for an option. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Edwards puts it on the floor, puts up the shot from the right wing. That's no good. And it's rebounded this time by Jacques Madal. Madal gets it to Nio Lear. Shot clock is turned off. 17 seconds to go in the third. It's a 4-point game. Nio Lear with 17. Gonna drive up to the left wing. Now to the left block. Puts up the layup. It's no good again from the same spot. 2 misses from that spot in a row. Tia Morgan, 2 seconds. Kayla Berry, a shot up. It's good if it goes. It's no good. Off the back iron, but after 2 quarters ended in ties, the Fordham Rams are the first squad to break through and take a lead into a break. It's 48-44. The Fordham Rams with the lead after 30 minutes. Much better quarter out of the Fordham Rams in that third, Nathan.
And for the Fordham Rams, if you're Coach B, you should be absolutely pumped about the Fordham Rams defense so far, holding the Dayton Flyers to only 33% shooting after they shot so well in that first half. And Fordham shooting 42% from the field as well, and 3-pointers are landing. And look, we talked about the second chance points that absolutely killed the Fordham Rams in the first half. They stripped that away. And O'Riordan wasn't even really that much of a factor so far in this third quarter, where she was dominating in the first half. The ability to take those low blocks, the option away from those guards for the Flyers, and take the option away on the perimeter as well has been huge.
What's even more impressive about that field goal percentage stat, Nathan, is that this Dayton squad is the 3rd best shooting team by percentage in the conference at 44% roughly per game this season. And the Fordham Rams are holding them to well under their usual shooting percentage. Fordham's defense coming through more so than I think they have really in all of this season. 30 minutes are gone, but we've got 10 to go in regulation, and the Fordham Rams are protecting a 4-point lead. Can they hold it together to end this one? We'll find out on the other end of this break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham Athletics with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and if you're just joining us, it is a great time to do so. 3 quarters gone, 1 to go at the Rose Hill Gym here on the beautiful Rose Hill campus of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. Sure, it might be a little rainy outside, but it's no less pretty here in the Bronx. Tucker Austin and Nathan Rogers with you. The Fordham women's basketball Rams have a 4-point lead over the Dayton Flyers here in the Bronx. 48-44 is the score. For the Rams, it's been a team effort, but Lucretia Edwards has really emerged to lead the team in scoring, especially in that third quarter. She's now 6 of 9 from the floor, 3 of 6 from 3, 1 rebound, 1 assist. But I also want to shout out Karen Easley because what a game she's had in terms of filling up the stat sheet. 8 points for her. She's 3 of 8 from the floor, but she's 2 of 2 at the stripe, 5 rebounds and 6 assists with a steal as the shortest player on the floor. That's pretty impressive. Oh yeah, she's also a freshman.
Next man up mentality for the Fordham Rams.
Lucretia Edwards with it for the Rams on the right elbow, looking for an option, gets it to Easley, who drives to the right block, but then has to kick it back out to Edwards again. 10 seconds on the shot clock here. Edwards steps back and now has to get it back to Easley. She calls for a screen from Niankin. Edwards got a switch for Stevens, puts up the 3, that's no good. A rebound by Lear, but it is finally picked up by Jacques Medal.
Corinne Easley has such a fast release that it's almost so hard to guard, and it's really good looks she's had, it just hasn't been falling so far.
Yeah, Stevens with a little bit of defense that time, but it was a pretty solid look for Easley. Top of the key again for Stevens, who is guarded by Easley. Easley, the guard out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Right wing, a 3, that time for Olivia Leung is no good. Second chance effort by Molly O'Riordan is no good, but they call a shot clock violation. Seems that the initial 3 by Leung never made it to the rim, and neither did O'Riordan's follow-up.
We talked about the communication early in the first half. That's kind of Coach B's what she's so proud about. You know, she prides herself on her defensive communication for her team, and right there that it showed. And they're kind of just taking O'Riordan out of the game, and we can see her body language that it's really disappointing her on the offensive side.
O'Riordan 5 points tonight, 2 of 5 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3, 5 rebounds. But really her only presence has been felt in the paint. Anastasia Veljevic gets inside and gets the 2 to go. It's 50-44. Largest lead of the game for the Rams now at 6. 8:30 to go. A quick pull from Nicole Stevens, who's had a really quiet night, but that's her second made field goal of the afternoon. Now 2 of 8 from the floor, and it's 50-46. Bit of a wild shot there from Lucretia Edwards, but there's a fight for the rebound under the basket. Ornella Niankin is in the area as well as Lucretia Edwards. There was a whistle, and if it is a jump ball, it's going to stay with the Flyers, and it does. They call it a kick ball on the floor. Emma Wilson-Saltos checks back in. Great to see her back out there after taking a pretty hard fall in that third quarter, but something to watch out for. Wilson-Saltos up to 4 fouls today, so she does not have any more to give in this game for the Rams. Olivia Leung, left wing, steps back and puts up the 3. That's no good. Almost rebounded by Medal, but there's a battle for it. Wilson-Saltos takes it to the floor with her, wins the jump ball, but possession with the Flyers.
Everyone's hitting the deck this afternoon. Love to see it if you're Coach B. And look, head coach of the Dayton Flyers, Tamika Williams, she has such good experience. I mean, she played in the WNBA and later coached at Ohio State, Kansas, Kentucky, and Penn State. So she knows how to close out games that are close, just like this one. Well, here we go, Fordham Rams in transition.
Yeah, after a steal by Easley, she finds Niankin. Bounce pass to Lucretia Edwards in the paint, and she scores. Excellent transition work by the Fordham Rams, 52-46, 7:40 to go.
Lucretia Edwards is knocking on the door to be the highest scorer in this game to Lear's 19. Lucretia Edwards has had 17 so far.
Yeah, season high for Lucretia Edwards, 17 points, another steal. Veljovic has it, finds Edwards again, pass down the floor for Wilson Salto. She has to collect herself, and she can't get the layup to go. And she picks up a foul immediately after the miss. That's her 5th, and I think she's done for the day.
Had another opportunity to capitalize on a turnover. They did so well in the third quarter doing so, having almost 10 points off turnovers.
That's really unfortunate for the Fordham Rams. 4 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 blocks in the game for Emma Wilson-Saltos, but she sits down having only played 14 minutes and picked up 5 fouls. First team foul against the Rams in the fourth quarter, but it almost seemed like a muscle memory foul under the basket right after the miss, and she just kind of forgot how many fouls that she had on her. 7 minutes to go. Fordham going to be without Wilson-Saltos for the remainder of this one. Nio Lear, top of the key, dribbles inside, takes it to the right block, puts it up and in, and one. Nio Lear found her touch again, and she's going to go to the stripe for a chance at a three-point play. 52-48, 7 minutes flat to go in the fourth.
And that's why she's a leader of this team in general. She has that senior leadership, and it shows up in critical moments just like this one with exactly 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. But look, she's the primary playmaker, and she just disrupts the defense so well, how she gets downhill, and now she's at the charity stripe again with those easy points, but misses it.
Yeah, misses the three-point chance, the three-point play opportunity, rather. Karen Easley cuts all the way into the paint going coast to coast, hits the deck but doesn't get the call on the miss. Olivia Leung the other direction, she's called for a travel, and it's going back the other way. Quick back and forth there from both sides, and calls not necessarily matching what you think you saw, but either way, the Rams wind up with the basketball and still maintain that 4-point lead. Huge call on the other end. It really looked like Leung got to the rim clean and then got fouled.
Yeah, I agree, Tucker.
Tia Morgan guarded by Olivia Leung. And Omashola puts a screen down there for her, but she can't get the 2 to go from just inside the free throw line. Long down court pass from Lear, and what a pass. A great find by Nio Lear to Ajak Madal at 6'3", who just reached up over the entire defense and plucked that one out of the sky.
Yeah, wow, that was like a go route quarterback motion right there. I mean, wow, what a pass. That was a dime.
The David Tyree helmet catch on the other end.
Exactly.
52-50 as the referees are going to talk some things over in front of us. 6:16 to go in this fourth quarter. Nathan, I think we're going to step away for just a moment here. Timeout was taken by the Fordham Rams, so it's 3 timeouts remaining for the Rams, 3 left for the Dayton Flyers. It's 52-50, the Rams with the lead. Coach B wants to talk some things over. We'll be right back after a short break with more Fordham women's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Michael K., WFUV class of 1982. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One on One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
We welcome you back inside the Rose Hill Gym on the campus of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. Tucker Austin, Nathan Rogers still with you on this Saturday afternoon for a matinee battle, a throwdown, a dogfight, if you will, between the Fordham Rams and the Dayton Flyers. 52-50 is the score. The Rams have the lead as Fordham seeks their first win in Atlantic 10 play in the 25-26 campaign. Dayton, though, also trying to bounce back after a really rough loss at home against the worst scoring team in the conference, Loyola Chicago. Dayton certainly has higher expectations than that, but this Rams team also has higher expectations than being where they're at right now. So both of these teams very hungry for a win, but thus far in the third and now into the fourth quarter, Fordham has looked like the hungrier team.
Exactly, and we talked to Coach B pregame, and we talked about what they've been doing at practice differently to kind of set themselves up for success to get their first win in A-10's conference play, and they just talked about, intensity and making that extra pass and working on the half-court offense. But look, it's led to so many points off turnovers, and look at Dayton Flyers. They committed so many turnovers last game against Richmond, and it just absolutely killed them offensively, and it's happening again. They had 6 turnovers so far in that third quarter, 11 points off turnovers for the Fordham Rams, and so far early in this fourth quarter, another easy 4 points off turnovers for the Fordham Rams. So it's just working so well in transition for the team in maroon this early afternoon.
I'm really shocked so far in this game that the rebound margin is as lopsided as it is, because the Rams are usually a pretty solid rebounding team, but it's 41 boards for Dayton to 27 for the Rams. That's 16 offensive rebounds for the Flyers against 6 for the Fordham Rams.
That's a testament to Ugne's interior presence too, and she's on the bench today.
But what's even more miraculous about it is that the Rams are getting out-rebounded like viciously, I would say, by this Dayton team, but they still have a lead as it stands right now. Fordham stopped on their possession out of the media time after their own timeout, I should say. Nayo Lear gets a look from the left wing, but still can't get that 3 to go. Fatima Ibrahim gets the rebound, but her layup is no good, rebounded by Omashola. But you saw another second chance look for the Flyers there, but they couldn't cash in. Karen Easley has it for the Rams, top of the key, drives inside, puts it up with the right hand, no good. Fight for the rebound off the hands of Omashola, but right to Ibrahim.
2 Fordham Rams were right there for the rebound, couldn't haul it in, and turns into another opportunity for the Dayton Flyers.
Nicole Stevens has it for Dayton, top of the key, trying to find Nayo Lear, and she does. Lear rises up for the 2 and gets it to go over Tia Morgan just inside the free throw line and ties the game at 52. 5 minutes to go. We're halfway through the fourth.
Lear's up to 21 points so far, 8 of 19 from the field.
Veljovic, left wing, cross court for Tia Morgan. Morgan, top of the key. She'll pull that 3, and it's no good. I know, a battle for the rebound underneath by Omashola, but it's last touched by the Dayton Flyers. Nice work by Omashola underneath. As now Lucretia Edwards is going to check in here, but that's also our first stoppage under 5. So, going to take another break here with 4:42 to go in the fourth quarter. Dayton has now tied the game once again, as it has been for so long. It's the 7th tie that Dayton has caused this game. Fordham has caused 3. There's been a lot of lead changes, but we'll be back with more Fordham women's basketball on the other side of this short break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham Athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym on the campus of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. Tucker Austin, Nathan Rogers. And this has been a really, really fun matchup all afternoon. It's been back and forth between the Fordham Rams and the Dayton Flyers. Both teams at 8-7. Both teams desperate for a win in conference play. For the Flyers, it's another win. For the Rams, it's a first win. But either way, both of these teams very hungry, as we've been stressing for the entirety of this one. The Fordham Rams, though, putting together more of a team effort. Of course, they are without Alexis Black, their lead scorer and a top scorer in the Atlantic 10. But Lucretia Edwards has shown up in a big way today. 17 points, 7 of 11 from the floor, 3 of 6 from 3. She's doing a great job, but the Rams are really spreading the ball around in terms of scoring. Precious Omashola is perfect from the floor today. She's made the most of every opportunity that she's had. And yet, despite all of that, despite the Rams being more comfortable in their home gym, we are still knotted this deep into the fourth quarter, but the good news is we're set up for a really, really exciting finish.
This is going to be a thrilling last 4 minutes and 42 seconds here at Rose Hill. But look, one of the Rogers keys to the game was containing Lear and protecting the paint, and that's kind of slipping away for Coach B's team so far. Nio Lear is up to 23 points, 9 of 20 from the field with only 1 3-pointer, and she's dishing it out for 4 assists with 4 rebounds. But look, that's a season high for Lear and a season high for Lucretia Edwards on the other side of the ball too.
Veljevic tries to inbound it, but it's stolen by Jacques Medal, immediately stolen by Lucretia Edwards, and now Fordham back with the basketball again. A weird sequence of a couple of turnovers there. Veljevic nearly picked up her pivot foot, but managed to keep it planted, finds Barry. Barry drives the lane, can't get the layup to go, and there's a fight for the rebound. They call it against Ornella Niankin for a bit of a reach over. It's only her second of the game, but it's the third against the Fordham Rams, while 0 fouls have been called against the Dayton Flyers in this fourth.
That was a very bizarre possession there. A lot of, it was a back and forth possession arrow.
And there's a possible foul on the other end. Nio Lear, they do call it against Lear, as the Rams have to peel Kayla Berry off the floor, but she appears to be okay.
A lot of physicality here in this game.
Yeah, and that was in transition by the Flyers, but Lear, trying to move with the basketball, caught too much of Kayla Berry. 4:12 to go in this fourth quarter. Karen Easley gets it to Lucretia Edwards. Edwards, the Rams' leading scorer, finds Ornella Niankin. Niankin moves up to the left elbow and puts up a 2, but it's no good. She got a good look and made a good selection, but just couldn't knock it down. Nicole Stevens taking her time with Karen Easley on her. Such a good perimeter defender is Easley. Stevens fires a sidearm pass into the right corner for Lee Young. Now it's back up top for Stevens. Calls a play, moves to her right. It gets away from her, picked up by Easley, but a late whistle comes in again.
Very late.
They're going to call the foul against the Fordham Rams. That whistle came in when Easley already had the basketball and had taken a full step, moving the other direction, but it's going to stay with the Flyers underneath.
Coach B really confused on the sideline. Can I ask the ref for a little bit of an explanation? Said they grabbed the arm early there, but kind of a late whistle that could have been turnover in transition.
Couple of changes for the Rams. The Flyers get it back in again. Clock ticks under, 3:30 to go. Olivia Leung, a right wing 3 is good. And that's huge with how little scoring there's been. And in this part of the fourth, in the last couple of minutes, the Rams are scoreless in the last 4.5. Dayton had been scoreless for a similar amount of time, but now it's 55-52 Flyers. Fordham in need of an answer here with 3 minutes to go. Tia Morgan.
And I think what Fordham Rams need to do is pick up the tempo, play at your pace.
Tia Morgan gets to the right block, but it's blocked by Nio Lear, out of bounds off of Lear. And it's going to stay with the Rams underneath. But a huge possession here for the Fordham Rams. 6 seconds left on the shot clock and a 3-point deficit. They need bare minimum a score, not necessarily a 3. Niankin, right block. And she is blocked, goes back up again, and she's blocked again by Fatima Ibrahim. Ibrahim picks up 2 blocks against Ornella Niankin. The Fordham fans in attendance want a foul, but no call again. And it's Flyers basketball now coming the other direction. Nio Lear finds Olivia Leung. Leung having hit the 3 to give the Flyers a 55-52 lead. 2 minutes 35 to go in the fourth. Leung, right corner. Ajak Medal pulls for 3, no good. Rebound Ornella Niankin.
Open look there, but kind of hesitated with that front foot. Couldn't
Edwards
convert.
moved in from the left corner, now finds Easley. Left corner 3 is good. Karen Easley. The step back corner connection, and we're tied at 55.
And that's why her nickname is Clutch.
Top of the key for Ajak Medal. Clutch Easley has the Fordham Rams back tied again. Medal, miss. Fight for the rebound. Morgan stole it away, and there's a foul. Nicole Stevens picks up the foul against Tia Morgan. Dayton starting to pick up some fouls now. I'm not sure, but I think the foul may have been called against Ajak Medal, although I thought it was Stevens making a move on Tia Morgan. But yeah, how about Karen Easley?
She was 0 for 4 from 3 before that shot. Now she's 1 for 5, but it's a timely make. Knotted at 55, just under 2 minutes to go.
Karen Easley drives the lane again, soft with the right hand, but can't get it to go. Rebound by Nio Lear. Karen Easley still giving her pressure the full length of the court. Lear steps inside, fakes the jumper, and then steps through the lane and gets it to go. 57-55, 2-point lead for the Flyers. 1 minute, 25 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Easley has it for the Rams, top of the key, guarded by Lear. Lucretia Edwards pulls a quick 3. It's no good, a little strong. Fight for the rebound, there's a foul. It's called against the Rams. And that pushes Dayton into the bonus, so it's shots now for the Flyers with a 2-point lead.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the Flyers have gotten every call in the paint, and the Fordham Rams are just the whistle heavy on the other side of the ball has been absolutely ridiculous.
Fordham not getting the help of the referees late in this one, though they're 1 of 13 in their last 13 field goals. The first free throw for Nicole Stevens is good, makes it a 3-point game. She has a chance to make it a 2-possession game here with 1:17 to go. Stevens, second free throw through a hail of screams from the crowd, and it's good. 59-55, a 4-point lead for the Flyers, matches their largest lead of the night. Easley finds Morgan. Just over a minute to play now. Barry. Back to Easley, top of the key. Dribble handoff for Edwards. Stevens picks up Edwards, and now it's a handoff for Easley. Stevens picks up Easley. Timeout called by Bridgette Mitchell, as nothing seemed to be coming from that offensive possession. 10 seconds left on the shot clock for the Fordham Rams, and 57.6 left on the game clock. For a game that's been so tight this whole afternoon into evening, Nathan, it's kind of hard to believe that the Rams are down by 2 possessions here with less than a minute to go.
Yeah, and if you're Coach B, you got to draw up something for Lucretia Edwards, in my opinion. You got to give it to the hot hand, have Karen Easley inbound it, and try to get an open shot, but it doesn't have to necessarily be a 3. You take the first open shot that you have, and there's 10 seconds left on that shot clock. Try to get down in the paint. Got to score here, though, absolutely.
We talked about Fordham having to translate good starts and middles of quarters in the first half into finishing quarters in the second half. They finished the third quarter, but a 1 for 13 run from the floor to end the fourth is not finishing the fourth quarter. Fordham gonna need some heroics here late now to try and bail them out in the last minute of this game. Inbound from Morgan to Easley. Dribble handoff for Edwards. Edwards, screened by Barry. She's picked up, though, by Lear. Easley, step back, a 3 is good! At the buzzer of the shot clock, Karen Easley knocks it down. Timeout, Dayton. It's a 1-point game.
How about Karen Easley in the fourth quarter? That's exactly why they called her clutch in high school, for this exact reason.
It's a nickname that followed her to college, and we're finding out why today at the Rose Hill Gym. Karen Easley, a huge three. Her second straight made three makes it 59-58 Dayton. It will be Dayton's ball, but 46.3 is the time left on the clock.
And originally, Tucker, I think it was drawn up for Lucretia Edwards. They had that double screen up top. She got it on the near side wing. She had to pick up the dribble because of the double team. Gave it to Karen Edwards, and that was it.
It was excellent defense by Nicole Stevens.
Absolutely.
Who picked up Lucretia Edwards after the double screen. But an inbound play from Dayton, they get it to Nio Lear. Lear drives the lane, she's fouled, and the Rams will take that as she was getting a pretty good look at the rack. It was going to be a right-handed layup if they didn't foul her, but now it's going to be 2 shots for Nio Lear. She cannot make it a 2-possession game, but she can make it a 3-point game if she hits both. It's been a bit of a struggle at the stripe for her tonight. 4 of 9 rather, from the free throw line so far. Crowd making their presence known, but Lear hits the first one to make it 60-58.
She's up to 25 points, absolutely leading this engine of the offense.
10 of 21 from the floor. As Lear's second one goes down, it's a season high in field goals made. Believe it's a career high in field goals made in a single game as well for Nio Lear with 10.
Hats off to both of these head coaches for responding to each other. Look, they've been in these positions before as players and coaches themselves. I mean, head coach B for Fordham, she went to that Elite Eight in that NCAA tournament a few years back. But look, Tamika Williams also has that experience at that Power 5 level too, and especially in the WNBA. And let's see what they draw up here. Down by 3 with 42 seconds left. There's a ton of time left with how this game has been played with the whistle heavy in the fourth quarter. So I think what you do is you try to get as in the paint as possible and try to get a really open shot, even try to draw a foul if you can.
The 6'3" Fatima Ibrahim and 6'3" Ajak Madal are both still in the game for the Dayton Flyers. So the paint certainly, although it's accessible, it's not very. And that ball was thrown straight out of bounds on the inbound play. Lucretia Edwards passed, could not find Ornella Niankin, got away from her and went out of bounds. The ball, the referee made an interesting signal. Although the ball should be with Dayton after that. I saw maybe a timeout signal. The referee is standing at the scoring table right now explaining some things to the scorers. And it's a timeout taken by Coach Williams Jeter. I believe for possession ought to be with Dayton based on the inbound play from the Fordham Rams. It was an inbound that went straight out of bounds, and it was an inbound play to a 2-point shot with Ornella Niankin. She did have an open look at the basket, but down by 3, and you've already connected for 3 to bring it to a 1-point game. You got to be thinking about another 3 to tie it.
Tough break for the Fordham Rams. The pass was there, it was drawn up, and it was just had a little bit too much heat on it, thrown right out of bounds.
The execution not quite there. It almost looked like Edwards tried to sort of place the basketball down the floor a little bit and just tossed it too far. So the ball is with the Dayton Flyers. The inbound from Jada Johnson. They get it to Nio Lear. Fordham not fouling just yet. Tia Morgan playing some tight defense. There's still a gap between the shot and game clock. Lear, left block. She's fouled and she connects and one. Nio Lear drives the left block where she's missed a couple of times on that same play, but this time she finds the touch, takes the contact, makes the basket, and she's going to the line for a chance to put a dagger in this one. 32 seconds to go. If she hits this free throw, it'll be a 6-point game in favor of the Flyers, which would be the largest lead of the day for Dayton. These teams split the season series last season. Fordham won here at Rose Hill, and Dayton won at the UD Arena in Ohio. Fordham takes their last time out after the second made free throw, or after the and one made free throw rather. Makes it 64-58, but it looks to me like the Flyers are on their way to taking a victory on the road here against the Rams.
Yeah, this is, in hindsight, that pass out of bounds is really going to come back and bite you, especially when you commit a foul on the other end of the court. It's just a recipe for disaster. And kind of a collapse here for the Fordham Rams here at Rose Hill in the last 5 to 7 minutes. Really just couldn't get anything going except for that Karen Easley three. But look, you're still in striking distance here. You've got to score really quickly. And it's got to be a good open shot. Set some off-ball picks, get something open in the paint. But again, the collapse is just not what you want if you're Coach B.
It's a career high in field goals and in points for Nio Lear of the Dayton Flyers. 30 points on 11 made field goals, both of those high water marks in her entire college career. So an excellent performance from her in this game. Although she shot 1 of 6 from 3, it didn't matter because she was really automatic from the interior areas. Lucretia Edwards inbounding for the Rams. She finds London Lilly. Lilly's going to pull the 3 from the top of the key. That's no good. Tipped away by Barry on the rebound and easily picks it up. Tia Morgan fakes the 3, drives into the paint, kicks it out for Barry. Barry makes sure of her feet and fires a 3 that's short. Fight for the rebound. Lilly picks it up. She goes up with the right hand. That layup's no good. Rebound Morgan. It's blocked. Barry puts up the shot. That's no good off the glass. Another battle for the rebound, and it's picked up by Nicole Stevens. 4 seconds to go. She's intentionally fouled, but it's all effectively for naught. Stevens going to go shoot a pair with 3.6 to go, and Fordham in a 6-point hole.
Absolute heartbreak of a possession there. You had about 5 or 6 chances at the rim there.
Heartbreak of a possession and really a heartbreak of a game overall. You could hear the air leave the building on that last possession. Fordham getting 3 4-second chance opportunities, but could not convert on any of them. Stevens made the first. She's perfect from the line today as she makes the second to go 6 of 6 at the stripe. Easley brings it into the front court, puts up the shot at the buzzer. It's no good. And the final, not indicative of the way that the game went for the majority of this one, but nonetheless, Dayton back on track. The Flyers, after dropping a game against the worst scoring team in the conference, they are back in the win column in the A10, and they improve to 2-3 in conference play. Meanwhile, the Fordham Rams continue to ride that Atlantic 10 struggle bus from 0-4 to 0-5 to begin conference play in 25-26. Nate, it's not exactly the way I have to imagine Coach B saw herself in her 3rd season at the helm of the Fordham Rams. Extenuating circumstances with players graduating and leaving in the transfer portal at the end of last year. It's a very fresh team this year, but still struggling to get things moving are the Fordham Rams in conference play thus far.
Yeah, and hats off to the Flyers. They moved to 2-3 in the A10, and for a team led by head coach Tamika Williams, this is huge for them. Getting, consistency on the road has been something they're struggling with. And for Fordham, this team has been struggling in that 4th quarter after such a dominant first half, and they took away their kind of key players. They took away Reardon, but Nio Lear at the end of the day is going to, with 30 points, kind of took the game away. But look, you can't shoot 4 of 23 and expect to win the game in that 4th quarter.
What's really interesting to me is that the Fordham Rams have actually done a pretty good job this season of limiting top players on their opponents' teams. They did so partially with Maggie Dugan when they played her with the Richmond Spiders, although because they limited Dugan, Rachel Ulstrom was able to have a much better game, their second best scorer. But really in all of Fordham's A10 games this year, they've been able to put a cap on the best player for their opponent. But today against Dayton, exactly the opposite was true. There was more focus on limiting the team's offense for the Flyers, but it allowed Nia O'Lear to absolutely stand out from the pack in this game. Like you said, 30-point performance on a career-high points and field goals made. Just a really stunning performance out of Nia O'Lear. Add 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal to that line in 31 minutes of game time. She didn't even play the most minutes for her team tonight, but still just absolutely incredible game from her across the board. Also wound up with 10 points, double digits out of Nicole Stevens, who had a pretty slow night from the floor, but kind of padded it with those free throws at the end. And 12 points from Fatima Ibrahim as well, who wound up with her double-double, 12 points, 11 rebounds. She was incredible in the paint, really enforced her will. For the Rams, they got a 17-point performance out of Lucretia Edwards and a 14-point performance out of Karen Easley. It's exactly what you'd like to see out of this Rams squad, missing Alexis Black. You want to see more offensive production out of other players on this roster, but it just wasn't enough as a collective tonight, and I think you can hone in on that fourth quarter for where things went wrong. Sure, it might be easy to say that because you look at the box score. The Rams had a lead after the end of the third quarter. They played their best quarter in the third, limiting Dayton and finding opportunities for themselves. But you look at the fourth quarter stats for the Fordham Rams, they went 4 of 23 from the floor in the final frame. All Dayton had to do was go 7 of 13. They didn't have to take nearly as many shots
they hit
as the
one
Fordham Rams.
three-pointer as well. And, you know, to be fair, the Fordham Rams played good defense in that fourth quarter. They just got, honestly, unlucky with that whistle because Dayton Flyers had 4 chances at the charity stripe that absolutely just killed the Fordham Rams. In that last 5 to 7 minutes, it just looked like Dayton was getting every call in the paint, and Fordham just got really unlucky there because there were just a lot of bang-bang plays, a lot of, you know, players hitting the deck, and it just kind of the momentum again. We talk about A10 conference play for men's and women's. It's all about effort. We were talking with our AD Guthrie, you know, in one of the breaks, and it's all about effort. It's all about momentum, and it's just who has that upper hand in that last 5 to 7 minutes. And today, the Dayton Flyers had it.
The diagnosis for me is just there was no closure of today's game. They got to the fourth quarter, had a lead, but then didn't quite know what to do with it once they got there, and the game just kind of got away from them. I think the clearest stat that shows that to me is a 7-0 run for the Dayton Flyers in the last 45 seconds of the game when they won the game by 8. This game was really, really tight, but Fordham went 1 of their last 8 from the floor, and it's not really a recipe for success, especially when you enter the fourth with a lead. To go on that much of a cold streak as a team, it really, really hurts. You might have to wonder how much of the offensive game Emma Wilson-Saltos was a part of, working her down low with the high-low game. She missed it almost the entirety of the fourth quarter after picking up an early 5th foul. But either way, the Rams in a game that really seemed like they were chomping at the bit to get their first win in A10 play. Things just unravel in the fourth quarter. And once again, the final was 66-58. The Dayton Flyers defeat the Fordham Rams. They improve to 9-7 on the season and 2-3 in the conference. The Rams fall to 500, 8-8 overall, and 0-5 in conference play. The next game for the Fordham Rams, they'll be in action in the midweek this week, January 14th, Wednesday at 7 p.m. on the road at the Davidson Wildcats. But that is going to wrap things up for us here at the Rose Hill Gym in the Bronx, New York. Thanks so much for tuning in. And one final time, for Nathan Rogers, I have been Tucker Austin saying so long, and we'll see you next time. Fordham Women's Basketball is a production of WFUV Sports.